Welcome to the bunny trail, everyone. I think this is going to be exciting for all of you. It has taken me, since last night, very little sleep going through, and you're going to see why. What I'm going to show you today is exactly what I use when I am looking for someone. And that means when I'm either hired by a family or asked by law enforcement, or perhaps both. It is now going on week number 3 to find Nancy Guthrie. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a doctor. I am not a lawyer. I am a tarot profiler and a forensic numerologist tarot profiler. That's what I do. While I can predict and do all that other good things that everyone else does, I have taken it in my career one step further, and you're going to see that in today's video. So it may be long. I invite you to get a snack, get a drink, maybe even a piece of paper and a pencil, and pause, and we'll wait on you. Okay, here we are. Now, my son started a tournament right when I started this. You may hear him in the background, and I don't want to stop and start. I am sorry. But you know what? Here in the house of Zelda, we live. Okay? That's just the way it is. You're also going to probably hear birds. The kitties are watching cat TV, so they don't come up here and want to bother me, because today we're going to use the pendulum. I cannot use the rods because the rods are big and you're not going to be able to see them on camera. Maybe we'll try. If I were in person in Arizona, I would be using my rods to find her. We have the ancient key, and we have a deck of cards you haven't seen. Well, maybe you have seen, but seldom. This is the hidden deck, and for those who want to know, yes, I keep the boxes, and I keep them in the boxes. This is the box. Bicycle hidden deck. You will love it. That's the back of it, and it's got all kinds of hidden little things in it, but we're not going to use that for that today. What I'm going to do, and yes, we're going to talk about ancient type of profiling, criminal location. They used playing cards in the 15th, 16th, and even 17th century to find people, criminals, directions. They did not have good maps. They did not have a lot of good technology, and this is what they did. And it works. So here's what I'm going to do. First of all, we're going to use the playing cards. Now, we're not going to read them, but what I will tell you is this. The heart's element is water. The theme about that are lakes and rivers, emotional ties to locations, nearby dwellings that connect to people. That's number 1. Number 2, the diamonds are air elements. These are all about roads, travel routes, open corridors, intersections, communication pathways. The clubs are earth element for me. They're all about ground, fields, parks, rural land, deserts, buried or grounded locations, and stable terrain. Last but not least, the spades, the element is fire. Dangerous zones, destruction sites, heat, conflict areas. Locations can be connected to stress or urgency. Now, when I deal out, I'm going to put out 3 of these cards. And it's going to try to give us a direction. All right? Yes, we're going to get to writing down this in a minute. It's going to give us directions. Numbers will tell us the severity of it. I don't really go by numbers, but we'll go by, because we don't have a legend, and I'm not going to get into miles and all that with this. But I have a treat for you coming in the end of this video. And I'm not reading cards today. I'm going to do pendulum, and I'm going to give you an area for Nancy where scientifically, through numerology, she should be, or around there. And I may even give you an initial of the person who took her based on scientific forensic numerology and all that jazz. Let's get started. Now today, here we go, is Sunday. I hope all of you are getting rest because I feel like this has become an obsession. I mean, I'm ready to call in the exorcist here. I'm joking. All right, today is the 15th of February, 2026. And I am making this at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's do a little numerology. This is the first day of the week. Many people think it's 7, but it's the first day. We're going to leave that to the side. So this is 6, this is 2, and this is 1, 8, 9. We're coming to the end. I think we're coming to the end of this pathway. And if we include Sunday being the first day, we are at a number 10. We reduce it, and it also becomes a number 1. So we're going from, here's kind of the exciting part. We're going from number 9, which means the end of this particular path and going into starting another path. Now, the Pima County Sheriff's Department announced that they have DNA in the one glove that they found that they sent to Florida. The way they worded it sounded as though they know who it belongs to, but they do not. They're going to put and match that DNA, and they will make that announcement as soon as. In the meantime, we got work to do. You see this map? Oops. Yes, you do. It's upside down. You see this map? Well, I've pinpointed it a little better than what you are seeing. This is it. And this little shaded area, this is really before they announced where Nancy lived or lives in the beginning. And it's right outside here of Tucson, right in this area. But now I have a better map. And we're going to date this. Well, this is already dated 2:15, and I printed this out at 2:55 p.m. So here we are. That is her location. And it is for 5820 North Camino Escalante in Catalina, Hills, Arizona. It's small. We don't need to see that right now. But I will tell you, I went down more of the rabbit hole, and we're going to do this later, maybe in another video. I actually got the house plans. The PW is perimeter walls. I got the plans for the guest house, the pool house, I suppose, the addition. And this is an overhead view. Like this is better to look at. This is Nancy's house. This is a neighbor, and this is Camino Escalante Road, little pool, and her pool house. We're going to look at this later. I may find some other maps that are a little better, and that is the overhead of her home right there. So we have all this energy around us. And to give you an idea about neighbors, they're talking about that it feels like it is desolate out there. Well, my darlings, this is the neighborhood. It actually surprised me. Now, when you get close, the neighbors aren't that close, but this is Nancy's house. You see I've circled this. These are all houses sprinkled in here. So there are houses, there's just a lot of foliage. There's just a lot of ground cover, cacti, all kinds of things. But that's it. And then over here is a main thoroughfare. This goes through here. But this is right here, North Camino Escalante, that goes right over here. And I believe that Annie lives, I could not get a pinpoint, But it doesn't matter because I think things are going to resolve themselves. Anyway, so this is what we're going to do, my darlings. I'm going to draw 3 cards. And we're going to ask the energy, the spirits, guides, energy. Now, again, I have cleared everything with this beautiful crystal. We've got the iron key here, dual purpose, key being open up a door, but iron closes any type of energy portal that we don't want. Here we go. We are asking for spirits, guides, angels. We would like a direction for Nancy. That's card number 1. So that is water, lakes, rivers, emotional ties, dwellings, areas connected to people. That flipped over, we're going to take it. That is earth, it's ground, fields, land, park, rural, buried or ground locations. The reason I say that is because sometimes in this type of line, if you need to pick up a cable that's buried or something like that, or pipes, plumbing, many areas have that. So here we are. Spades, fire. Now, I'm also going to give you this little thing. Hearts are west, which would be this way on the map. Hearts are west. Diamonds are east. Clubs are south. And spades are north. So I'm going to say, it's a little conflicting there, and sometimes I don't use the direction unless I have 2 of 1, but I just wanted to say that. But I just want you to know that this type of method, directional cards, were used in the 16th and 18th centuries. And this is my own family traditions, using rods and pendulum, because you see the cards don't only predict events, but they indicate terrain and directional influence when you do research work. So let's pick out 3 more, see what we come up with, and then we're going to do something here. There's another heart on top of a heart. So definitely a water reference. We've been catching that the whole time. I know right now it's been raining, but that... look at that, club on club. So there we go, and that is grounded, earthy. Wow, just wow. I couldn't have done that. Okay, so that's definitely giving us this fire element. And I'm going to say this terrain could be, I don't know, a little dangerous maybe. There are some of these areas. What would cause danger? I don't know, snakes, bats. I don't know what's over there, but that's what the cards say. So now we're gonna take this over to the side. And ladies, I gotta tell you, primarily ladies in my audience, so you'll know, I wanted to paint my nails again today, and every time I tried, I could not sit and wait long enough, and so I would just start getting into it. I put on the paint and then go, and then I would look at my nail, and you'd see this little skid. So I took a hairdryer to it. Here we are. We're good. Put these cards over here. Now, I'm going to tell you something about psychometry, because usually when I do something like this, if I put my hand not on it but just above it, people think that that is psychometry, and it is not. It is a part of really a dowsing method. It's just really called a personal dowsing method is what it is. Because you're connecting directly, and see, I can feel right now. I'll tell you how it feels like. You know, sometimes when you rub a balloon, an inflated balloon on your clothing or on your shirt sleeve, and you feel that static energy and there's a pull, that is exactly how it feels like for me right now. It's exactly how it feels like. So this is a signal right here, and it's a marker. Now, the first thing that I want to do now is also explain another thing, because people are like, oh, Zelda, you're moving your hand. Yeah, I am. But I'm not moving my hand to move this pendulum. For those of you who use pendulums, you can attest that these pendulums can be very heavy. This one is heavy. I mean, it's not light at all. It is heavy. If you got hit with this, like if you were swinging it like this and you got hit, oh, it would hurt. Definitely. Got to hang on to these things. But with me, because there's such an energy pull, it will sometimes jerk my hand like this, and I rest my elbow on the arm of my chair or on the table, and you will see it. Now, I'm going to show you what it would look like if I moved this to try to get the pendulum to move. Do you see that? Look at what it's doing. Do you see that? I am purposely doing this to move the pendulum. So if you're, and look, I'm just really going to exaggerate it. It's moving, but it's not in a fluid way that a pendulum would swing. So now I'm going to just give you a little demonstration. For those of you who are here for the first time, we're going to do yes, we're going to do no, and we're going to do a maybe. And then we're going to do a 1 over here, a 2 over here, and a 3 down here, and a 4 here. Now here's a little demonstration. And yes, here we go, my darlings. Here's a little demonstration. Because when this energy connects, oh, and let me do one thing. This is going to be a resting point right here. So when energy connects, you may see my hand jerk like this, but do you see what happens to the pendulum? Not anything. And you see what's going on right now. The pendulum has found that energy of the rest space. Okay, so there we are, and it's mimicking the circle. Now, when the pendulum starts really going and swinging, it will jerk my hands. So I just want you to know that, all right? So I'm going to give a demonstration here now. Pendulum, I want you to stay still and rest. No, rest. Thank you. Now, I want you to give us an example. That was me that moved. My elbow slid. All right, I want you to give us an example of what your yes, point to the yes, please. Point to yes. And exaggerate it to show our fine folks what you mean by yes. There you go. Now I want you to rest. And I want you to show them, I'm going to move my arm so you can see the no. I want you to show them your no answer, please. Show them no. No, please. There we go. There we are. You can see a little bit better. All right, you may rest. And now show us the maybe. You see how it goes? It traces the circle first. That's a rest. Don't trace the circle now, though. I want you to show the maybe. Now, my darlings, this is connecting with energy. That's it. There's no ghost. There's no portal. There's no demon. There's no anything. It is energy. That's it. There we go with the maybe. All right, you may rest now. I'm going to make you see, this is it. I'm going to make this chain just a little longer as I hold it. And pendulum, and I'm going to move with it this time to give you an idea. Because, yeah, I'm moving my hand, but you're going to see the direction the pendulum goes. I want you to point to the number 2. You know where number 2 is? And I'm going to move over here to another number. And do you see the directional pull that it happens when I try to force it to go to 3? It's almost as though it is standing, going this way, like standing up, going this way. All right, so this is what happens when we get closer to the number 2 as I'm moving. Now we see it is at number 2. Thank you, pendulum. Now we're going to give it a rest. You have to rest every time between you use a pendulum. Thank you very much. Rest, please. Now, pendulum, I want you to, I'm going to move my arm. I want you to show these fine folks the number 4. And I'm going to move over to where I believe the number 4 is. You see what this is doing? Do you see it's only swinging in one way? There's no way if I'm moving my hand that I can get it only to swing in one way. That's 1, but it's now. Now I'm going to move it toward the 4, and you're going to see, and all of this is very important, my darlings, for what's coming up. We're getting closer to this 4, and you see what happens over the 4. Okay, pendulum, please rest, and then we'll get started. Thank you very much. And stillness, please. Thank you. All right. We're going to turn this map over. Now, I know this is small, but I want you to see the movement of the pendulum. We're going to start here at this red dot. That is Nancy's address. And I'm going to ask, please find the dot where Nancy's home is and give us a rest position. I'm going to lower it here just a little bit. Thank you very much. Now, pendulum, I want you to connect to the energy of Nancy Guthrie, and I want you to show us the direction she is in. Okay, it's pulling me to the down here. Okay. And now it's stopping. Do you see this? And it's starting to pull back. Okay, I'm going to go slow. And when you find her energy, I want you to please stop. And you can see I'm not really even holding it. It's just resting over my thumb. When you're over the area in which she is, I'm going to go over here for a minute, pendulum. And I want you, is she over here? Push me. Show me. No. And as it starts to circle, it's right in here. And it shows that as it's called the 3 points area of Tucson. I don't know if that's desert or where it is. Now, I want you to keep this area in mind, okay? We're going to do this. And it takes a little time. We have to be patient. You can't rush it. Or you are pushing it like this. But you see what happens when I move it? It goes nowhere. So we're going to let the pendulum do its work. And this right here is a national forest, is my understanding. And It is right in here. Okay, thank you, Pendulum, for your service. And we are going to mark this spot right here. I'm going to put 15 to 26 right there. And we'll mark that spot now going forward. Now here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put these cards up, and yes, if I had the time, because it usually takes me about 3 or 4 hours. I don't want to take 3 or 4 hours with you. I want to show you. But here, we're going to move this over here so it doesn't get crispy and ruined. This, my darling, is 14 pages of the Zelda Codex case study of Nancy Guthrie's home. Now, there's some things in here, and it gets really deep, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, because I think I have done a numerology report on Nancy and so forth before. But I did everything. This is what's called a forensic case study on everything from the event horizon, which I used 1:48 a.m. Mountain Time, and then the displacement vector, which means the moment, that moment that she went missing, tied to 1:48 a.m. And then, of course, her pacemaker disconnected after 2 a.m. I marked some things here so you can see. I mean, there's just all kinds of, and it gets deep. I'm just going to tell you, and I will continue to go back to this, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to share with you during this time. And I think it's really important. And for those of you, this is called psychic mapping. Psychic mapping, where I use the numerology. A lot of people I'm seeing use astrology, and God bless them, because astrology is an exact science. But I gravitate toward the numerology, toward the pendulum, toward the rods, toward all those. But this is what we have. And I wrote it out, so if you're reading this, you can see. And it says, in forensic numerology, the ghost is the number that isn't seen but felt. Because there's some number, there's a sequence of numbers from 1 to 9. There's a sequence of numbers, and her house number is 5820. So it's considered to be a ghost number that isn't seen but felt. It is calculated by looking at missing gaps in the full address. All right, so here, I'm going to lift this up so you can see it. The house number, 5820, somebody told me it was 5825. No, it's 5820, reduces to the number 6. The street name is Camino Escalante, and it reduces because in Pythagorean numerology, each letter of the alphabet is assigned a number. And you do a lot of reductions and so forth, and it reduces to the number 9. I'm going to put this on here. So this is a 6, and this is a 9. Now the ghost number is calculated 6 plus 9 equals 15. And of course, as a double digit, you can't take that, so you have to reduce it down to a 6. So the house is a double 6. And in the shadow, this is a vibration called a gilded cage. Like, she was kept there. It was pretty. It was her little play pretty. She stayed there. She was kept there. But a gilded cage. Now, here's the thing. There's a missing frequency here. So if we look at the digits present, which is 5820, we notice the absence of 1, 3, 4, 7, and 9. And the most significant gap here is the number 7. I'm going to put that over here to the side. The ghost message that we get for this numerology, let me see if I can get it this way. The absence of the number 7 means in this house where secrets cannot be processed. Does that resonate? It It gives me chills now. So the secrets, the DNA that somebody left, but we don't know who belongs to. And I'm sure there's other things in there that they're not saying because, well, they don't like the media and all of us YouTubers doing what we're doing. So this is where secrets cannot be processed and there is no spiritual drain. Nowhere to go. Traumatic, hello. Tomaso. Traumatic energy gets stuck in the walls. So this whole event of early morning hours of February 1 is still resonating and looping in that house. Oh boy, if I were in that area, you would see me going, okay. It's stuck in the walls because the number 7, which allows for introspective and release, introspection and release, is missing from the physical foundation. What does that mean? Nancy's not there. So the walls have absorbed this. And if you don't think that our homes carry frequency with us, drive down the road in some of these very rural areas where you see an abandoned home and it falls apart so quickly that they go into disrepair quickly. Why? Because even if you don't take care of your home, if you don't clean it, you don't do anything else like that, your energy is a powerhouse for your home. That's why you got to keep it clean. That's why you got to do your things. That's why you got to make a little pact with your house. Look, you take care of me and I'll take care of you. It's all energy vibration. Nancy's not there right now. So the walls are vibrating and wondering what's going on. What's going on? It's like it's stuck. So now I want to go into this ley line vortex. And there's a ley line that goes across the United States. And it's often called the ley line of destiny, and it's a number 40 line, or it's called the bloodline. Now, Tucson's alignment, this 40th parallel is further north, and Tucson sits near the 32nd and 33 parallels. That is like longitude, latitude type. I'm just going to say it like that. What caught me is this, because we're talking about energy hooks and we're talking about all these things. The magnetism of the foothills where she lives, located in Catalina foothills, this site sits on a high granite elevation. The vibration, I get excited. The vibration of this granite is a conductor. That's why if you go up to that house, the vibration is pulsing. It acts as a battery for the house. The 6 vibration. If the vibration is confinement, which it is, the very ground acts as the magnetic force keeping you there. What was keeping Nancy there, and all of a sudden that frequency was disrupted by the dude that came in and took her. Let's continue. And yes, we've got all kinds of forensic exits and numbers and everything else. Now, here's a little something I want to show you. Breaking the forensic ghost, the missing 7. We discovered the 7 is missing from the house's numeric DNA. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that we're talking about DNA in the house that we don't know who belongs to, and yet the house has DNA of its own? The 7 represents solitude, analysis, and truth. The missing energy is resulting shadow, the forensic fix. Now, look over here. The 7 fix, which is the 7, that's the ghost number, introduce water or mirrors in the wisdom sectors of the home to reflect the hidden truth. So if I were going in there knowing this information, we've got a number 7, which is a ghost number. It's vibrating in the walls because Nancy's energy is not there. I would put up some mirrors. And if there are any mirrors in the home, I would cover them while I did my work, because the mirrors are acting like an energy conductor. So now we're going to go on. And it's going to get good. Hang in there. You may be a little bored, but this is what I do. This is how I found people. Yes, I have found people. I'll tell you the story in a minute. The timestamp of 1:48 a.m. In numerology, we reduce this time to a core vibration to a number 13, and then we have to reduce it. How do we reduce it? 1 plus 3 equals 4. The number 4 represents the 4 walls, the foundation, and the box. The gilded cage. You know what that really makes me think of? There's this 84-year-old woman. Instead of making sure she was with somebody, she's with somebody close. Four, approximately as the crow flies, as the raven flies, 4 miles away, or maybe 4 blocks away, Annie and Tommaso, close, but evidently not close enough in this case, or maybe they were close. Okay. But it seems to me that she was put here to contain her. Okay, well, let's just put, because that happens in families. You go on with your life and you just kind of stick mom somewhere. And I'm not saying that's what they did. But forensically, numerologically, it feels like that. The frequency of physical entrapment, meaning she felt just kind of stuck there. It's a rigid structure of the 6, the cage closing in. The 13 influence is called the death number in tarot. It is the death card. But in forensic numerology, it signifies a sudden, permanent upheaval that clears the old way of being. It is a clearing event that is often violent or abrupt. If this doesn't give you see what I mean when I tell you numbers don't lie? Energy doesn't lie. Because this is reading the house. And it even gives me a little thing about the doorbell and the missing 7 and the shadows. The house went blind and silent at the exact moment Nancy, who carries a 7 energy, was removed. And the house, energetically, vibrationally, is struggling. Now I got something else I want to show you. The search direction. Now this is where it gets good, my darlings, because I did where we should be searching. The address, the 5820 North Camino Escalante, in the shadow north, isn't just a direction. It is a 1 vibration, the crown. However, and we had these spades, which are north, higher elevation, terrain, just to give you a little remembrance. In traditional numerology, the southwest is often associated with the number 2 and the 7, and also we have 2s here. You see, it doesn't lie. Since Nancy is missing, and she is the missing 7 for this house, the energy leaks toward the southwest. Where did we just have the pendulum? The southwest. Southwest of what? What would be southwest of her property? So the energy is leaking there because it's still trying to connect. Think of it as Nancy is the pacemaker for the house. She disconnected. The energy is leaking. Now, I'm not talking about her own personal pacemaker. I'm talking, metaphorically speaking, through numerology. So here's the thing. The house shadow 6 confinement creates a pull toward the southwest. The southwest is a number 7 connection. In traditional numerology, southwest is associated with the numbers 2 and 7, like we said. Moving on, the search radius. Focus on locations that reduce to 7 or 11, and this includes with names or coordinates that sum to these numbers. I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet because, my goodness, I've been doing a lot. But you see there, the streets, the roadways, reduce them. I mean, that's a job, but that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Because the 7 represents, and see, the 7 terrain, deep ravines, dry washes, or locations near hidden water. I don't know, Bat Bridge, I thought was pretty good. The 8 intersection, since the event was governed by the number 8, and that was back here, I didn't show you that, the destination likely involves an area of extreme industry or extreme nature. Could it be this? I don't know. I don't live there. Now, there's all kinds of things about psychic gateways and so forth. She's got a number here of 22 as a master builder. In the shadow, it represents heavy construction or infrastructure. Nancy was moved from a home, number 6, to a structure, which is 422. 22, when you break that down, you're not supposed to break down master numbers, but if you do, it would be a 4 over 22. That is impersonal, rigid, and hidden from the street. And it's hidden. She's hidden from the public eye. It's going to get good. It's going to get good. Hold on, hold on, hold on, my darlings. Hold on. Now, I didn't mark this. I should have. Stay with me. This is important. Psychic mapping. The forensic relationship number. If we look at the interaction between Nancy, the number 1, and the house, there is a hidden 5. The 5 is a taker. This would be someone who represents false freedom to Nancy. Hey, Nancy, would you like to go out and get an ice cream cone? Sure, come on over here near me. I'll help you go out the door. Oh, yeah, and then they help them. They help her. They help her to the point where she's harmed because she figured out too late, of course, not going out to get an ice cream cone at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hello, that's an example. In many forensic cases, the taker is someone the victim perceives as an escape or that they can leave with safely, but who is actually an agent of the 8, the warden, meaning she felt it was safe perhaps to a certain extent and then quickly realized not. The identifying marker. Here we go, my darlings. In the Zelda Codex, that's what I named this because it is my forensic way of doing things as far as numerology. In the Zelda Codex, we look at literal alphabet of the shadow. The number 4 and 8 are dominant. The 4 in the timeline. So, my darlings, here we go. We are looking for perhaps someone who has or associated with the letter D, the letter M, and the letter V. Also associated with a letter H, a letter Q, and a letter Z, and not Zelda. Forensic profile, when we look at the individual whose name or primary identifier begins with the dominant V or M, this person likely has military, law enforcement, or high-level engineering background, which is the 22-8. They did not break in. They deactivated. Think about that. They didn't break in. They deactivated. There were no signs of breaking and entering. It was deactivation. Something happened there. We don't know yet. Now, when you say, oh no, this guy is a goofball, listen. I know people right now with previous military background. And I wouldn't trust myself to go get a grilled cheese with that person if they were hired to protect me. Okay? And you know those people too. Just because you might be military, and I'm going to say maybe former military, maybe former law enforcement, because we keep pulling up this officer gig, this card, and maybe former high-level engineering background. Smart, but so smart they're dumb. You know, getting their gear at Walmart. You see what I'm saying? We all know that person. I know several of them right now. God bless them. It's those wannabes, or it's those ones who have wanted to do that all their lives and just didn't make the cut, and especially in law enforcement. So they go around, they dress that way, they act that way, they want to be that way because that's the only way that they can be. You get it? And it fits this guy. It fits this person to a T. And also think about this. If there is a couple which are the masterminds for what we are seeing, and they looked for somebody who's has particular knowledge, you know what I mean, it would be that guy. It's that guy that has his ad in the back of the book, in the back of a magazine, soldier of, I don't know, I tell fortunes, where they run an ad and it basically says, I will extract your loved one. I will find your loved one. And quite frankly, as my grandmother would say, they don't know their butts from a hole in the ground. And we saw that befuddlement here. Now, I'm going to turn to the next page, and I think you're all going to be a little... This is my verdict. Nancy was not taken by a stranger. She was taken by the system she was trying to outrun. I'll explain that in a minute. The Who is personified version of the house's own shadow and enforcer who believed Nancy was a component of 5820 loop that needed to be repossessed, taken. Forensically speaking, this is the map where in my suggestion, I'm not guaranteeing that she's there. This is entertainment purposes only, and please do not go there and interfere with anybody or anything. But this is the map in which the calculations numerologically, can't say that, through the numerology calculates and the route that perhaps they took. She went, something hit my throat there when I said that. Pardon me. The marker A coming down here, and B. I don't know what's there. Stark Pass. I think that's what it's called. Looks like it. And that is a national park, Tucson Mountain Park. You ever see where they're standing outside of Nancy's home right here? And you look over here and there's the mountains. Has anybody went that far? Now do not do anything. I have given this information to my person. You do not have to do anything at all because I will not interfere, and we should not. Because this is not a guarantee. I got to say that for disclosure purposes, disclaimer purposes. But the numbers don't lie, and it sure maps out pretty good. Now let me explain this. What this means by she was taken by the system she was trying to outrun, hey, if somebody came up that she knew and was wanting money, she's really not in a position, 84 years old, to fend anyone off and to say, look, go soak your head. I'm not going to help you anymore. I'm not going to give you money. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Now, would they themselves do this? I don't know. Everybody wants to keep clean. It's obvious. There's DNA in the house, and the house itself is DNA. But the who is the personified version of the house's own shadow and enforcer who believed Nancy was a component. She was an element, is what that means. That person who came in there and deactivated 5820 North Camino Escalante for Nancy basically felt that was just like a paywall. That's all that is. And she needed to be repossessed. So maybe, did she say no? Okay, fine, take her out of the house. Show her who's boss. I'm just giving you things to think about here. That is psychic mapping, my friends. May they find Nancy. Her energy is not very high right now. And here are the cards, once again, that we laid out, which is near water, near ground, and perhaps some dangerous terrain. Kind of fits. Yes, and you don't have to do anything, but I want you to watch for those letters, especially M as in Mary, V as in Victor, okay? Watch for those. Watch for those. Now, here's a little story, but first of all, I want to say this. I want to thank you all for understanding, because in the wee hours of the morning of this SWAT team debacle, I was up until 4:30 looking on 3 different devices to try to stay up with things. I saw with my own eyes a video of someone taking their own ticket to paradise, and it was fast, and it was taken down, and I tried to find it, and there was nothing. And there are still some papers that are out of the country that is reporting this, and some people who said they saw the same thing. So forgive me, and I'm just going to say maybe I just was sleepy. I'm just going to say it that way. But the mayor of Tucson, I heard this morning, has this no crime initiative. And when things happen, he just doesn't want to face it. And so he just wants to sweep it away. Was it that? I don't know. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I just want you to know that I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't feel that I saw it. Okay, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Sure feels like I did. Sure, because I was appalled when I saw that. And it was shocking because it happened so quickly that you couldn't plan on it. So it was caught on camera. That's number one. Now, back in 1990, there was a little thing called the University of Gainesville, Florida, Tickets to Paradise, the M word. And I just came out of Psychic Friends Network. I went to Florida, was doing a lot of psychic shows and that sort of thing. And one of the detectives is gone now. It's been a long time ago. One of the detectives, that's 35 years ago, pardon me, contacted me and said, I want to know what you see. And I said, okay, all right. And he said, how much do you charge? I said, nothing, because there's families that are suffering down there. Let's just see how this works. I went down, I visited. They talked to me about what they had, and they said they were at a dead end street. At that time, I did not read. I knew tarot existed, but I didn't even go near them. I read the playing cards only. I had several decks. I would use multiple decks of playing cards to let them tell me what was going on. So I got all the numbers. I did all the ley lines. I did everything. And by then, I did not have anything that I could type on. So I wrote it all by hand. You can imagine if I wrote this, I would be like, hello, I quit for the day. That's a lot of writing. So I wrote it. Of course, I was 35 years younger then. Hello. I wrote it out, and I told the detective something is not right here. You're looking for someone who exists, who is right on top of this. And he got mad at me, called me a few professional, not so nice names. And I said, okay. So the next day, I called him and I said, look, before you cut ties with me, there is a person who resonates with the name Wayne. That's your person. And he's like, nobody has the name Wayne there. We've got all their backgrounds. I said, okay. Wayne. Just remember Wayne. W-A-Y-N-E. Wayne. 3 days later, he calls me. He said, I need to come see you. And I was living at the Equinox Hotel in St. Augustine, Florida. I love St. Augustine. He said, I'd like to come up and take you to lunch. And I said, you're buying, pal. I'm fine. All right. So we went to lunch. We sat on the water. And he said, I owe you a huge apology. I said, you don't owe me anything. He said, no, I do. I was stubborn and I didn't want to listen. Because you tried to tell me there was an outlier and I didn't take it. And finally, it dawned on me one night that I had to expand the search results. And he said it was the next night after I talked with you. And I went into the office and I did this. And he said, we found the person who did this. I said, congratulations. Now, the community and the university needs to heal. And he said, that's first and foremost. But I said, who did it? And he said, it was the maintenance man. I said, but I thought that he did not have the name Wayne. He said, no, but his brother did. So you see how this stuff works? Sometimes you have to think outside of the box, and sometimes these things come into you. I mean, I have many stories like that, and I am writing the book. You'll read them. And it's everything from financial crimes to historical crimes to everything and anything. If you can commit a crime, and I've worked on it, it's going to be in that book. And it's not with one agency, it's with several agencies. I'm just changing the names. So you know how that is, but I'll tell my story. So here we are, my darlings. Nancy, we need to find you. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I appreciate you sticking with me. Psychic mapping. Let's go.